Welcome to 4RunnersUp. This is the official podcast for Top 5 with Lisa Foyles on The Escapist, where in sort of a morning after fashion, I can delve a little deeper into why I chose what I chose on the show, and also viewer reactions and comments, specifically about all the stuff I forgot to put on my list. My co-host here is Scott, an expert internetter and a good friend of mine. Can I say, Scott, are we friends? Is that a good intro? Are we frenemies?
Sure.
Or frenemies?
Sure. Yeah, that's better. I like that better, yeah.
I've known Scott for a long time, but I've only actually been in his presence like 3 times, because we lived in Portland together, and then he moved away, and then I moved away at like the same time, right when we first met, so now we're just kind of like internet friends.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly how it went down, and it's funny because we both lived there for so long. And I was like, hey, this person she makes videos on the internet, and she's also in Portland, and then nothing came of it.
I know. We have actually kind of a weird friendship. But I hung out with Scott and his lovely fiancée, Alyssa, at PAX East a couple weeks ago, and that was pretty fun. Mm-hmm. That was a good time.
It absolutely was
cold
fun.
As shit there
again.
In Boston.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Super cold. That was a bad idea, staying in a hotel that was like far away from the convention center. That I had to walk like a half mile every day in the snow and the cold.
To be fair, the hotel attached to the convention center was probably about 4 times as expensive as the ones that weren't.
Yeah,
so.
No, that was ridiculous. So.
I'm okay
but I
with
wasn't
it.
paying for it, so of course I'm going to complain.
Us lowly, peasants have to pay our own real money to do that. So.
Well, let's talk about the show. Let's talk about the return of Top 5. Made a triumphant return today. It's so
Fantastic.
Exciting. Everyone's so excited. I'm getting so many tweets and comments, and I'm reading every single one. So if you tweet me, I will read it. I'll maybe reply. But yeah, it's been very exciting.
Tell people to suck it.
Tell people to suck it. So what did you think of the top 5 list? Today was episode 1, and the topic was top 5 video game comebacks. Because, what better way to make a comeback with a web show than talk about top 5 comebacks?
I like how top 5's a little bit more not you flailing around for 5 or 10 minutes. I like that. That's probably my favorite part. Just because I have to associate with you in real life sometimes, and it's embarrassing. No, it was a good list. I thought it was a really good list. I've got my own interjections for a little bit.
Of course
later,
you do. Of course you do.
I know.
Well, that's why you're here.
I know. That's the whole point of the show, is for you to give a list, and then a day later for me to be like, here's all the reasons why you were completely wrong. But for now,
perfect. You and the rest of the internet. Thank you.
Yes.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, and
Let's go.
I think I'll also, try to consolidate some of the internet people's thoughts. Also, maybe put together something like, hey, this is what the internet thinks. Like, who gives a shit? But here's what they think. Like, I don't, you can do whatever you want.
We do give a shit.
Afterwards.
We do give a shit what the internet thinks. We do.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So let's do a quick rundown of what the top 5 were. Number 5, I gotta remember. Like, I spent like 2 weeks editing this video, and now I'm gonna forget. Number 5 was Ninja Gaiden. It is Gaiden, right? I always thought it was Gaiden. Some people say Gaiden, but I think it's pronounced Gaiden. I want to say.
I always said Gaiden.
Okay,
so we're gonna go with Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. Number 4 was Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii. Number 3 was DMC. I remember that because it rhymed. And number 2 was the new Tomb Raider. And number 1 was Mega Man, specifically Mega Man 9 and 10. So
that's a good choice.
There you go. And a side note, I was gonna pick Kirby for number 4, but it didn't make sense, and I don't know. I love that game.
I didn't even know there was a remake.
It's so good. You have to play it. That's why I wanted to put it in there. It's so good.
I saw it and I was like, what?
It's amazing. All right, we're gonna start with the category of loved, because we got 3 here. We have loved, hated, and forgotten. So let's start with loved. What'd you like here, Scott?
I really liked number 1. Everybody was really, really bitching about Mega Man. A lot of people like Legends. I was kind of, it was all right. I wasn't really super invested in it. But no, 9 and 10, fantastic. I was a huge fan. Loved that choice, definitely, as the number 1 pick. I might be able to rival it, maybe, but we'll see. I doubt it, just because when I think of a game that I loved very much as a kid, and then just, oh god, the heartache, that's one of the ones I would think of right off the bat. And DMC, I'm glad you got to eat your words. That made me happy.
I did.
Because I was like, nah, it's not going to be bad. And you're like, no, it's the worst thing.
It's going to be the most terrible game ever made.
Yeah. oh, look at his hair. I'm like, his hair is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what he looks like.
It does matter. No, you're wrong. It does matter. It's Dante. If it was any other character, it wouldn't matter. But it's Dante. Like, he is... Okay, no. Dante and Leon. Leon from Resident Evil. He's known for that swishy, sexy hair. And so is Dante. That's, like, part of their character.
Whatever you say. What did you think of New Virgil?
Yeah, you know what? I liked everything about the game. I did.
Okay.
I was like sitting there playing it and waiting for me to hate something, and I didn't. And I think that made me more angry than if I would have hated something, just in true nerd rage fashion. But yeah, I mean, we can get into the Mega Man Legends thing here in the hated category, because I know there's some people angry about that. But yeah, I mean, the thing with my list is that it's subjective, and I mean subjective. Yeah, it's subjective because I'm the subject. Okay,
Jesus,
it's subjective. I will come over there. It's a long way, but I will come over to you. So I mean, it's subjective, and I don't have a lot of time to narrow down these lists. And obviously, I haven't played every single video game in the world. I've played many of them, maybe not beaten all of them, but I've at least played a lot of them. When I lived in Portland, I was friends with a lot of really hardcore gamers who were really big collectors, and so I kind of had that opportunity to like go over to their house, just kind of go up and down their game shelves and just pick whatever I wanted and borrow it or play it. So I've played a very good chunk of games out there, but still at the end of the day, it's going to be games that I like. Most of the time it's gonna be, if I have a choice between two games that I'm going back and forth, I'm probably gonna go with the one that I liked more. That's just kind of all there is to it. It's my show.
I was gonna say it does say top 5 with Lisa Foyles.
It does.
So I guess you get the final say.
It does. So
and then I'll tell you why you're wrong the next day.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of that, let's move right into hated, because yeah, whatever. Top 5's back. Everybody's happy. I am happy the show's back. But let's get into hated. Oh, Mega Man Legends fans.
They're so angry with you.
So angry. I had to come at somebody on, I think his name is Ronnie. He tweets to me every once in a while, but he was saying, he's like, I can't believe you bashed Mega Man Legends. And I'm like, okay, in the episode, I specifically say, I didn't like it. I don't think that's considered bashing.
You never said it was a bad game. You just said that you didn't like it. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from actually bashing. I do bash a game in the next episode of Top 5 that I know is going to make people so angry, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Great.
Like actual bashing. Great. So,
but
yeah, tell me, like, did you play Legends? Like, tell me your feelings on the Mega Man series here.
Well, I loved them growing up. I played a lot of Jesus, if I could even remember which one now. I want to say 3. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's been a while, but I've always played Mega Man games. Maybe not necessarily like you said to completion, just because they were so fucking hard.
They're so hard. They're so hard.
There's only so much, motor function that you have as a child trying to play these games before you're just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna go play Sonic.
Right, attention span too. Yeah, talent and attention span. Jesus. When you're young, Mega Man is, maybe not the game for you.
No, definitely not. And I kind of dropped off when it started going the weird 3D. But then again, I can't really fault it for that, because most games were trying to go weird 3D around that time. It's like, oh, we can do this 3D thing now. This is so cool. It's like,
right,
no, it's not.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was making in the video, is that, there's so many games that did that. There's so many games that went 3D and they kind of got that new look. And it worked for so many games. But I just personally don't really feel like it worked for Mega Man. I think it kind of, like I said, it like got all pastel-y and weird. Like the levels just didn't seem the same. And I think maybe it's not that I thought, I actually didn't like Legends. I'm not just saying that. Like I didn't really like it. Maybe if I played it now, I'd like it again, just because I'm older and a better gamer. But I think maybe it wasn't the game so much as it was that it was a Mega Man game. Maybe if it was about a totally different character, like that kind of game and setup and story and stuff. But it was Mega Man. Like, I liked Mega Man as the little, 2D side-scroller with the little sprite jumping around. I wasn't big on, like, making him 3D. It was, like, kind of sacrilege to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And that's why I don't necessarily have any kind of hate towards you for calling out specifically Mega Man Legends, because it didn't connect with me. Pretty funny how people are getting so angry about it, but no, that's the biggest one I think I've seen so far that people have been throwing tables about.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure if I played it again now, I'd probably be like, what was I thinking? This game is great. But I have to go off of what I remember when I played it, as a kid. Maybe not a kid, but I don't know. How many years ago that was? Was I still a kid, considered a kid, teenager? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with yes.
Yeah, I have to go with what I felt at the time. So I don't know. Maybe I was having a bad day or something. But
maybe.
I love you, Legends fans. I do. I'll,
She doesn't care about you.
I'll pay it back at some point. I'll insert it into another top 5. There you go.
Other than that, I mean, aside from the usual, why didn't you include X game into Y list? I can't think of anything that really jumped out that people were like, oh, this is so stupid. Why are you so... I mean, other than the DuckTales thing, I'm going to still give you shit for that because
you know what's so funny? We did. We saw it.
Yeah.
Oh
and I'm standing there, and you're like, can I take a picture with the DuckTales thing? And I'm thinking to myself, you don't really deserve that.
You're right.
I don't necessarily know I want to take that picture. But
that's what was so funny is that, that was my biggest screw up in my last season was I didn't include DuckTales in my list of top 5 old school Disney games. I think just because it wasn't as nostalgic to me as it was to other people. I did go back and I played them and I was like, dang, DuckTales really was an amazing game and I felt really bad for not including it. But the funniest thing is that I filmed my newest episode of Top 5 for the new season. I got it all done. It's on my computer. I'm like ready to edit it. And then I go to PAX and then I realized that DuckTales has been remastered and now there's a new DuckTales. And I'm like, God dang it. That would have been such a great thing to include in top 5 comebacks because, I mean, granted, I haven't played the new one yet, but it's just funny that I could have mentioned something in the video, but no. Terrible. Yeah,
and it was hilarious was the size of the fucking line to play DuckTales.
I know.
It's the DuckTales remake,
People
Capcom
love that
game,
shit.
great game.
People love it.
But I mean, the line was like bigger than some of the biggest names there, and I'm just like, wow. I've played this before. I know it's gonna be good. I will buy it when it comes out. That's about it, really.
Yeah, so. I mean, it just goes to show you that that's such a trend in games. How it's either like super, super old school is really popular or super, super next gen. It's like nothing in between. If it's really nostalgic and really kind of, 8-bit, like Fez, like that was a huge hit because it was so simple. And like Minecraft, it's like so simple and those, such, low quality graphics, or it's like the amazing stuff. It's like nothing in between. So you kind of moved us into the forgotten category here.
Yes.
I did actually have a few people tweet me interesting ideas for the list. I got one person saying Prince of Persia. And you know what? That's actually, that's a pretty good one. I did think about that one. Mostly I was trying to pick games that I felt really dropped off the map and then came back. And I guess maybe I didn't feel Prince of Persia quite met those standards because I've thought they've all been okay. Like they've all been pretty good. Like Prince of Persia 4 was a lot of fun, except I didn't like it because the prince was such a d-bag. He was such a douchebag.
Yes, he was.
God,
I
just want to punch him every time he opened his stupid mouth. I just want to punch it shut.
Shut up and jump, asshole. Yeah.
Go scrape some stuff with your big metal claw.
That's right.
Jerk. Yeah, I didn't pick Prince of Persia. Did you play those games?
So good. Yeah, I played Sands of Time. Huge fan of that game. As those newer games continued on, though, I kind of lost interest because it was just more of the same with a couple new mechanics or whatever. But Sands of Time was so good, and I think that game, I can't decide if it would have done better as not a Prince of Persia game. I mean, on its own, even if it didn't have Prince of Persia in the name, it was a great fucking game. So, that was number 1 on my list here of things that you might have forgotten.
Did you play the original, I think it was 1989 version of Prince of Persia? The little, like, puzzle side-scroller
Yes.
one?
I had, my dad had an Amiga, and he had all kinds of games like that, and Prince of Persia was one that I tried to play as a very small child. It did not go well for me, but I definitely played it. So
it's so funny. My dad actually, a couple years ago, he emailed me completely out of the blue. He was just saying how funny it was and how glad he was that YouTube and the internet now exists in the way that it does. Because he said that he used to play that old Prince of Persia game forever ago. And he specifically remembers he could never beat it. The very, very ending puzzle with like there's like mirrors or something. I forget what it was, but there was some kind of really, really tough ending puzzle that he could never complete, and it took him months and months and months of trying and failing and trying and failing, and finally he just gave up because he couldn't do it. And now years later he just emails me and kind of telling me the story, and he's like, so I finally got to go to YouTube and search for it, and I saw how to complete the final puzzle. And he's like even though I didn't do it personally, it still made me feel so much better in the sense of satisfaction that I finally got to see the ending of the game. So
Chapter closed.
Chapter closed.
Yep.
Another one that somebody said was Sonic. That should have been in the comebacks, but I don't really agree with that.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. I am a Sonic nerd. Well, I'm not gonna act like I'm a Sonic nerd like some of the people on the internet are. I played a lot of Sonic as a kid, and I've probably played all of them between.
Well, then you would be a good expert
Sonic
here for this
yes.
comment.
So no, I don't think it fits. Sonic Generations, the latest one, is really good. As much as I'm like, I had my problems with it, but I liked it. It was a lot better than any Sonic game that's come out since Sonic Adventure 2, which was a while ago. Mm-hmm. Like you said, if we're gonna leave Prince of Persia off as far as like it kind of fell off the map, but not really.
Right.
Sonic never really fell off the map. They just kept trying to do it, and it wasn't going anywhere. I don't think that counts.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt. Is that I never thought that the Sonic games really dropped off the map and that they were just bad. Like, one came out and it was just terrible and, like, people, like, started forgetting about Sonic. Like, I think people have always kind of had Sonic on their radar. I mean, there's he was in even all the Olympic games, and, like, Nintendo kind of, like, always has him around. I mean, you can say that Nintendo always has Donkey Kong around, too, but I don't feel like people care about Donkey Kong. Like, they always care about Sonic, but I don't feel like...
Name the last good Donkey Kong game. You know, aside from the 30 Sonic games that were horrible, like, it's not even a contest.
Yeah. Did you play? Did you play Donkey Kong Country Returns?
I have played a little bit of it. Yeah, I played it at a friend's house.
You gotta play.
That is one that I've been meaning. I know that is one that I've actually been meaning to pick up and play all the way through, just because I played. I loved Donkey Kong Country. Played that all the time on the SNES, and I was like, is this really going to be as good? And I kind of stood back at a distance and was really apprehensive. I'm like, I don't know about that. Apparently it's really good. So I have to go and play that.
I was floored. I was seriously floored. I thought it was an absolutely, almost like a perfect game. It was beautiful. That's my favorite thing about it, is that, these jungle games with these bright colors, everything is so green and, pink and bright orange, and these levels are just beautiful. And, I mean, the Mario remakes are also amazing, but for some reason, I loved the Donkey Kong Country Returns remake so much more because of these things they did of, like, shit would go on in the background of your level that, like, you almost took your eyes off of what you were doing because you were staring in the far away background of the level as things were, like, crashing and exploding, and eventually what was happening in the background would, fall forward onto what you were doing. And, I mean, it was also pretty challenging, but like I said, it was challenging in a way that made you feel really satisfied when you completed levels, but, you didn't get frustrated.
Yeah, and it's good to find that balance too, because I'm definitely one of those people where if a game gets too challenging to the point where I'm like, I'm holding the controller really hard and I can feel my hands are sweating, I'm like, you know what, I'm not even gonna play this anymore because it is not. I'm not having any fun anymore. Is really what it comes down to. And yeah, that balance is really hard to find. So if they've actually got that too, then I definitely need to go pick that up. Yeah,
you and Alyssa would have a lot of fun playing it too. That's definitely more fun co-op, I think. I mean, I only played it a little bit by myself, but I had a lot more fun, playing it with my friends. So I don't know. I mean, I was kind of going back and forth on whether I should, put that one a little higher on the list, but I don't know. I felt that, the others kind of made such a crazy, like, big return in a way that you didn't really expect, that I felt they earned a higher number.
I agree.
On the list.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that's a good spot for it.
So cool. It seems like I have a pretty middle of the road, agreeable list this week. That's certainly not going to happen in the future. I will piss a lot of people off in the weeks to come, but that's...
You had months to research, and now you've only got a week in between, so...
I know, and that's what always happens.
It's all downhill from here.
I keep a big notebook. Actually, it used to be a notebook. Now it's just a document on my computer, but I keep a big document of, future top 5s that I want to do, and now the list of top 5s is... I think it's like 30 long, because now I'm expanding the subject matter from not just video games anymore. It's just kind of all nerd stuff. It's going to be mostly video games, just because that's kind of my jam.
Yeah, that's your thing.
That's my thing. But yeah, it's so funny because I go and I pick one of the topics that I want to work on, and I open a Word document and I start doing research on what I want the final 5 to be, and I always get to 3. Every single time I get to 3, I get 3 like super narrowed down, and then figuring out those last 2, and then figuring out the order they have to go in. That's the part that just kills me, and it takes me so long, and I have to I seriously have to phone a friend. Like, I have friends that I call and I'm like, do you agree with this being on the list? Because I don't want to piss everybody off. And, you know, sometimes they've been like, oh, hell no, take that off. Like, what are you doing? That is, you're gonna
think about what you're doing,
yeah.
Files. Jesus Christ.
That is suicide on the internet by doing that. You know, there's going to be weeks where I put out my top 5, and then the next day I'll be like, I can't believe I left Mario off of my top 5 plumbers list. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Well, I actually have a list of, my personal list. It's not 5, so I'm crushing, the usual format here. But I have 6 lists here of games that really tried to remake itself and then just shit the bed.
Ooh, Scott's bottom 5.
Yeah,
I like it.
that's
or
right.
6. Well, let's just say 5. You know.
Yeah, we'll say. Well, Duke Nukem's on here, so it's already been covered.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
knows it's a horrible game.
It's in a category all of its own.
Yeah, like there's the bottom 5 and there's Duke Nukem.
Yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
just fucking horrible.
All right, what do you got for us?
So I've got the remember the GoldenEye remake that they tried to do with Daniel Craig as James Bond, which he was great in the movies, but God, that game was fucking terrible.
It's hard because the first game was so good.
I know, and they took a gamble, and I respect that. Most of these are like, yeah, they gambled and they just didn't do it, and that's that's what it is. But that game was terrible.
Do you have these in any particular order, or just kind of 5 you thought of?
I just got 5 that I kind of
see.
Thought of,
it's hard to put them in order.
It is. I'm
you.
not going to even pretend to be the professional here. It's all you. I put Doom 3 on here because I played a shit ton of Doom as a kid, and Doom 2 especially. Doom 3 was an atrocity. At the time, I was probably like, yeah, this is all right, but no, this is fucking flashlight. Can't hold the flashlight and the gun at the same time. Fuck you. It's horrible.
Yeah, I only played like the original Doom, but I heard those were pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. They did the HD re-release of Tony Hawk, which was horrible. Game was terrible. Like, what is wrong with you? It's supposed to just be an HD remake, and they had like levels from like the second and third one, but they didn't have revert in the game, and then they added in a later patch. Everything. I'm just like, you guys suck. This is horrible.
Yeah, again, those were games that like I didn't play a lot of just because like. When those were really popular, I was like, I'm a girl, I don't play skateboarding games. This is silly.
Oh, see? You're missing out. Those games were really good.
I know they were good. Well, when I did play them, they were really good. I agree. Not totally in the dark.
Did you ever play any of those really terrible Atari PS1 remakes? Like, there was a collection with, like, Centipede in it, but Centipede was, like, 3D and weird and horrible. Like,
yeah, I think I didn't even bother. I think I saw those and I'm like, nope. I played a ton of Centipede in the old version when it first came out. Like, there's no way I'm going to try that. It looks crappy.
I feel like my parents rented it. Like, I didn't go to the video store with them, and they just decided to get me a video game, and they're like, oh, Centipede. And I was like, oh my God, what is this?
This is probably about bugs. He'll love this.
Yeah. Jesus. And then I put SimCity on here because I'm bitter. That game makes me sad.
I don't know if that belongs on the list because of the game content, but it certainly belongs on the list because of the debacle.
I'm putting on the list because of the game content, not because of the debacle. And here's why. It's not SimCity. It's Sim Town region thing. And it's one of those games where when it actually did start working, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking great. And then 5 or 6 hours in, you're like, that's kind of weird, but I can handle it.
But here's the thing, you can't be mad at them for trying something new because there's been 1,000 SimCities and they're all the same. Like, if you don't like this SimCity, then just go back to the last version and it's going to have everything your little heart desires.
No, like I said, same thing with GoldenEye and all that stuff. I respect them for taking a risk and trying something new. There are some things about it that I really like. This one just didn't do it for me, and it's still, at its core, fundamentally broken. I saw a screenshot of a guy who had a 2.5 million population town with no water, no power, no sewage, and it was a full residential town. Most of you know nobody had any jobs, and the town was still growing. Like, obviously your game doesn't work if that stuff is there. So I'm a huge SimCity nerd, and that made me sad. So that's if I had to pick number 1, that would be my number 1.
Oh, number 1, oh.
Yep,
narrowed it down,
yep.
oh.
Yeah,
whatever, fuck you, Scott. You're less stupid. Your show sucks.
Yeah, whatever.
Awesome. Well, that was a pretty cool list. I thank you for bringing that. Now I'm going to expect that every week. Every week I have to do Scott's bottom 5.
I'm going to make that happen.
So kind of just to wrap up, what are you playing right now, Mr. Scott?
What am I playing right now? Let's see. I just finished BioShock.
Oh, no
no
spoilers.
so
I haven't played it.
God.
I mean, okay, I played some of it. I did play some of it. I don't want to say I haven't played any of it because I did the review on it. But it's a TGS review. I didn't write it on myself. But I have played some of it in order to do the review. But I haven't had time with all this top 5 stuff going on to play BioShock Infinite. It's killing me.
It's disgusting how much it lives up to the hype. Like I was like, yeah, this will probably be pretty good. And then when I finished it, I just kind of sat there like my brain was just like, what just happened? What?
That's so good.
Holy shit. Yeah. Like BioShock, get your dick out of my ear because you're fucking my brain. Like seriously, this is so messed up and awesome and I love it.
The first BioShock is in my top 3 games of all time. And when BioShock 2 came out, I was really, I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Well, the second one was just kind of so-so. It just seemed like they were trying to pick up where BioShock 1 left off in a way that like you can never top that. There's no way. Part of BioShock 1, the amazingness of BioShock 1 was the introduction of the world. The first time you saw Rapture, you're just like, oh my god, you just kind of poop your jammies. But you're never going to get that again having a game, set in that same world.
Exactly.
Props for them trying, and it was fun. I did have a good time in the added multiplayer for BioShock 2 was fun.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I think they did something very smart. I mean, Ken Levine's back, so obviously he knows what's up and what he's doing. Yes. But yes. I assume that there's more of that, world, amazeness to make the game crazy, like, BioShock 1. I can't even make words happen. I'm so excited to play the game.
Like when I there's a scene like right after you get to Columbia and you step out and, like the sun gets really bright for a second because you were indoors and then you just see everything there. And then like a hummingbird flew by my face and I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm sold.
Hummingbird.
You win. And there's actually people here now as opposed to like kind of an abandoned city with a bunch of crazy people. Like this place feels alive. There's a lot going on. I was like, oh, this is everything I ever wanted.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That is so cool. I'm so jelly.
Yep.
What am I playing? People have been asking me that a lot lately because of PAX and stuff, and I've actually felt kind of embarrassed because I'm not playing anything cool right now. Hey Scott, you wanna know what I'm playing?
Oh Jesus! Am I gonna regret this?
I'm playing Lego Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
I'm really fun. Shocked by that. I am. I'm shocked that you would play anything Lord of the Rings licensed.
That's sarcasm. That is sarcasm, audience.
Yes, that would be sarcasm.
No, you know what? I've found this is the most stress relieving game I've ever played in my life because the entire world is destructible. I haven't even gotten past Weathertop. I'm at Weathertop, and I've been playing this for days because I just go around to every plant and every stone and tree and rock and pig. I just destroy them, and I just crush them into coins, and then I pick up the coins, and then I go around and I crush more stuff, and I just go around and I do just that, and it is like the biggest stress reliever ever. Better than my other stress reliever, which yesterday I was trying so hard to send my top 5 video file to the Escapist because originally it was 8 gigabytes large. And I had to compress it to like 1. It's still compressing it only made it like 1.5 or something like that. And my internet just wasn't fast enough to like send it to them, and it kept failing, and it was like so frustrating. And I just get really fidgety when I'm nervous and stressed out. And so I had, because of Easter, I had all this candy just sitting around. And so I grabbed this big bag of Skittles, and I was popping those things like pills just all day, just grabbing handfuls of Skittles. And I got such a tummy ache because I ate so many of them. But it made me feel better when I was crunching them, so I've moved to Lego Lord of the Rings. It's a better idea.
That's probably better just for you in general.
For my health and my not having diabetes.
Embrace your inner loot whore and collect those coins rather than collecting diabetes from Skittles.
I can quit anytime I want.
Yeah, I saw your Coke addiction.
My Coke addiction. I should be releasing like a blooper reel for each episode eventually. I don't know when we're gonna start doing that, but I talked to Susan at the Escapist, and I'm like, I would love to release a blooper episode that goes along, with the real episode, just because funny shit happens. Mostly with my cats, like they just come into the Kevins. They just jump into the scene and they just destroy things. And I barely even got any of those shots done with the Coke and stuff in the bathroom because the cats just kept knocking over my camera. Like, Kevin, Kevin, stop it, Kevins. But we got through it.
That's good.
Well, next week's episode is it's gonna be a fun one. The title of it is not gonna insinuate as much fun as the actual episode will be, because I can't find like a good word to represent what it's gonna be. But you'll see next week when I do. But it has to do with weapons. What?
Oh boy!
But special weapons.
Now we're gonna have to fight because weapons.
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely gonna fight physically, emotionally, spiritually. There will be tears.
Yes. Oh, there will be blood.
Internet blood. It's the worst kind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me here today, Scott.
Of course.
You did a great job. I think I'll keep you on for the rest of the You didn't know this was an audition, did you?
Thank God.
I've been keeping a scorecard over here. I'm like, funny comment. That's good. A+.
One funny comment. He's good.
No, you had multiple. I've been keeping track.
Oh, okay.
I have a list over here. No, I'm just kidding. No.
And a spreadsheet.
You're great, Scott, and I love you, and I love Alyssa, and I like doing this shit with you, so let's keep doing it. But that's it for this week's 4RunnersUp. Catch us again next Wednesday right here on lisafoils.com/top5. And be sure to hit us up with your suggestions for future top 5 episodes. I believe you can actually find us on our Twitter. We have a Twitter now. This is great.
We have a Twitter. It is at 4RunnersUp, the number 4RunnersUp. And it has like one tweet on it right now, so you could be really cool and follow us, and I'll see that stuff, and so will Lisa.
So exciting. And of course, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Lisa Foils. I think that's about it. Do you have anything else you need to say there, Scott?
You can find me on Twitter at FWPX, and then you can pretty much find me anywhere on the internet at those 4 letters. Don't ask me why. It's a long story. Maybe we'll get into it some other time.
We will get into it some other time.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching Top 5 on The Escapist. We will see you next week.
See ya.